waiting for a couple more participants to come in. So let's give it a few more minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and then I think we can get started. Thanks. On the CFA Sri Lanka YouTube channel as well. So thanks everyone who joined at this time. So I think we can kick things off. So so today what we have lined up for today is to give you an overview of some of the key changes that have been happening to the CFA program, as well as to share some insights. Because I think many of you, you might be first-time candidates, or maybe you're considering whether to take up the CFA program. So we want to share some insights with you about some of the key enhancements that have been done to the program, and how what are the sort of like the opportunities that can open up to you by undertaking the program. So first up, we have Mr. Sachin Naik, who is the Director of Partnerships and Client Solutions India for CFA Institute, who will be talking through some of the key new developments that have happened with the CFA program. And after that, we'll be following it up with sort of like a small discussion with Rajiv Disanayaka, CFA, who is the Chief Financial Officer at HNB, who will be highlighting some of his career journey and how the CFA program has helped along the way. And also, this is really the opportunity for you to clarify any doubts about the CFA program in terms of the content or the scholarships or any other benefits that is provided. So please make use of this opportunity and answer any questions that you might have. So with that, I'd like to pass it to Sachin, who can take you through the new enhancements to the program. Yeah.
Thank you, Travis. And good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in at this evening hour. I am sure all of you have, just completing your work day, or maybe just about still in the office, just as Travis would be. But the mere fact that all of you are joining in today just shows the seriousness for you in the program. As Travis mentioned, some of you are already in the journey, or some would have been contemplating on joining the CFA program. So we will keep it open for discussion. My topic is more on the evaluation or what changes CFA Institute has brought about for the program. But I'm happy to take in any questions on that topic or otherwise connected to the CFA program as well. So quick introduction. My name is Sachin Naik. I'm part of the client and partnership solutions team based in India. And I've worked closely with the India and Sri Lanka market for candidate and membership strategy. So trying to understand the end-to-end journey of a candidate when they start off with the CFA program or even before that. And right from that time to going on to become a member and continuing to stay a member with us. And how can we make a difference to you along this journey? So that's my role. I would be happy to do some of this session in person, hopefully sometimes soon in Colombo. But for now, let me just start with my presentation virtually. I'll directly jump into CFA Charter. For those who have already started the journey, I'm sure you would have read about it, heard from some of your colleagues, counterparts on why the CFA Charter or the CFA program. There's no equivalent qualification when it comes to investment management or investment research. It is recognized as a gold standard or an investment credential. We had kickstarted the exam in way back in 1963, 1964. So it's about 75 years since the credential has been growing. And the membership base, the 190,000 investment professionals who have gone through the program and are a member with us, speaks to the volume of the global network that CFA Institute brings about for this. We are present in as many markets as possible, and we work closely with 650 universities globally, including quite a few in Sri Lanka as well, just bringing the curriculum, aligning the curriculum to your university program, and so making your journey a little bit more easier. Just the charter itself, I mentioned it's a gold standard, unmatched expertise in terms of the curriculum that has been created year on year, refreshed year on year. And this is developed by CFA Institute, but in close collaboration with our members, with practitioners who actually write the curriculum themselves. So a lot of this content is built through feedback from the industry, feedback from the employers and regulators, and making sure that we keep it as relevant as possible for you. The other benefits I've listed on the website, I mean, there are much more details. I will encourage that each one of you spends a little bit more time on the website. There's a lot of material, be it on career resources, which kind of careers is suited and relevant for you if you're pursuing the program. From the local context, I will leave it to Travis and other speaker today, Mr. Rajiv, to guide you more on how beneficial it is from the Sri Lankan context. But from a global context, there are a lot of resources on our website which will provide you guidance. And we know members, we know candidates who are mobile and flexible who have moved around markets. So how that help them in the journey. I think some of them can be easily attributed to the CFA program, where you speak one common language irrespective of the market where you go to. So the recognition is there for the charter in a number of markets globally, and that's the benefit. So don't think that you're pursuing the programs just been in Sri Lanka. Of course, it will be of immense value for your own economy, for your own market, if you're to learn, contribute, and give back to the market per se. But if you're looking for a global career, this is a good route also if you're looking for that path. Getting the charter is you sequentially go through the three levels and then apply and become a member of CFA Institute. Of course, you have to fulfill certain criteria before you get that membership and the charter as well. My apologies if I'm just skipping through some of the slides. Would rather want to spend more time in the actual content or the topic today, which I'm here for, which is the evolution of the program. If you are all familiar, or hopefully you're familiar of the three levels, it's sequential really that you have to give level 1, level 2, level 3. The topical areas are divided across 10 different topics. The weightage varies depending on which level you are in, and the focus itself as well. When you're starting off, it's more of the foundational or the fundamental concepts that we focus on, moving to helping you do single security analytics, and finally a portfolio or a wealth management focus level 3 content. This has been a structure for a while traditionally, but the 10 topical areas which you see at the bottom of your screen undergoes a refresh every year. So there will be learnings, there will be readings in the curriculum which we will look into, which are relevant or not. As I said, we interact with the industry every year. We have a team called who do the practice analysis, who go out and meet the industry and see what we are missing in the curriculum and what can be added. So we have been adding regularly. We have been updating the curriculum year on year. So that's where you'll see the connection. So what's different from that to the topic that I'm going to talk to you about today? Changes to the curriculum of CFA program for 2024. I mean, the changes that we are bringing in is significant in terms of the number of changes that we are bringing. We generally do not do a large change. If it's just the curriculum, there will be at least 15-20% of the curriculum changes. But for 2024 program year, the changes is just beyond the curriculum itself. We have made changes to the curriculum as well, but just for your benefit, there are 6 changes which I'm going to briefly talk to you about. The details are there on the website, but let me just take you through these 6 changes. I'll go one step at a time. The first one is eligibility change. Now, for those who are familiar, anyone who has completed their graduation, he or she has completed the graduation, they are eligible to join the program. This has been the criteria for a long time. We have made certain changes to it, especially the latest one, which states that if you are within 23 months of your graduation, you are eligible to appear for level 1. So what essentially it means, if you're going for a 3-year program, undergrad program, or a 4-year undergrad program, in your pre-final year, you can go for the CFA level 1 exam. You can register a little earlier as well, but the earliest you can give your exam is within 23 months of your undergrad degree. For level 2, you have to be a graduate at the time of sitting for the exam. So we have not made any changes at level 2. Level 1, that is the change which is already implemented now. So as I speak, if you are a college student, if you're pursuing your university program right now, and you are say in the final year or your pre-final year of passing out, it's the right time for you to log on, join the program if you think this is helpful for your career. So we are just about opening the door for our college students who wish to start the journey a little earlier. It also helps a lot of candidates, and this is what feedback we have got from candidates is if you're looking for an internship as part of your university program, and if you want to intern in the financial space, in the investment management space, having access to this knowledge, at least the level one curriculum early on, building your fundamentals and foundation is what will help you start off. And when you go into the internship, the opportunity to apply some of these learnings to the day in day to your work environment is where we'll connect the dots and you'll find it particularly helpful. So suppose that if you're thinking this is a relevant career field for me, you already got that foundation to kickstart on. So that's the first change. It's already implemented as we speak right now. The next change is on focused curriculum. Now, essentially what that means is when we talk about each of this level one, level two, level three, CFA Institute advocates that you need to spend at least 300 hours at each of this level to ensure that you understand, you assimilated the curriculum well. We do collect feedback from our participants, from our candidates, from every exam cycle every year. And some of the feedbacks that we have been receiving of late is students are spending in excess of 350 plus hours at each level. Well, that's good, but that's not ideal. And that's not what we as a brand wanted to focus on. We wanted to ensure that there's certain amount of rigor, but it doesn't go way beyond what a student we would ideally want them to spend time on. So starting 2024, there are some changes to the L1 curriculum and subsequently other levels also will come down to. For L1, we are moving out some fundamental concepts or learnings out of the main curriculum and we are putting into a pre-read material. What it means is some of these fundamental learnings will not be tested. It will not come or as in your exam, it will be not, there will not be questions on that particular level. Like there are three prerequisite reading I mentioned at the bottom. It's quant methods, economics, or financial statement analysis. So these are prerequisite reading. For latter half of your readings and learnings, these are important, these are helpful. You'll not be tested on it, but this is where you feel need to know. So if you are already covering this in your university program, or maybe in your work environment, if you have a good understanding of this, you can skip some of these pre-readings and directly move on to the actual curriculum. So we are trying to bring down the curriculum to 300 hours, and that will be the curriculum from where you'll be tested also for your exam. So that's the second change, and that gets implemented right from February 2024 exam. That's we have already opened registration for that earlier last week on 16th May. So anyone looking for that exam starting 2024, you will see this change already implemented. The third change, and this is a new significant change for us, is the introduction of a practical skill module. Now, one of the feedback that we have consistently received from our institutions, from our employers, is while students have a very strong understanding of the theory aspect, applying that knowledge to the actual work environment, the practical applicability is sometimes found wanting amongst our students. So we've taken this feedback and we have been working on building a module which will help address some part of this gap. So we have released something called as a practical skills module. What it will entail is there are about 10 to 15 hours of a mix of videos, case studies, etc., which has been built into this module. So if you are registering for, say, for a February 24 exam as a level one candidate, you will be required to complete one practical skill module. It's not going to be tested in your exam. This sits outside your exam. So you just need to go through this at any given point of time, right from when you're registered as a candidate to the date you're giving your exam. You can just finish this 10 to 15 hours of practical module outside of your exam testing phase. Completion is required. It's a mandate that you complete at least one practical skill module. For level one, we have provided two modules, that's financial modeling and Python programming fundamentals. Depending on your area of interest, you can pursue both, but at least one is something we guide and suggest. We have given some guidance on the website on who should be looking at which program depending on the career focus as well. For level 2, there are two programs essentially: analyst skills and Python data science and AI. Anyone who missed the Python programming fundamentals at level 1, if you're continuing your journey at level 2 right now and wish to pursue that as well, so we have made that option available at level 2 as well. So this is the change that we have already implemented with the February 24 exams. And for level 2, if anyone registers for the May 24 exams, you'll see that for the level 2. For level 3, we have not yet added it. It will come in 2025 exams. So that's about another year and a half away. I touched upon this, the different practical skill module that we are covering. These are the 4 topics and the learning objectives that covers under each of this module. So we'll see a little bit more details around this. There are FAQs that are built on our website, which I'll try and share it on the chat as well. You can go and read at your convenience. The 4th change is on level 3. Though it's not immediately implemented, but this is scheduled to release in 2025. Now, curriculum is focused on a portfolio management track at level 3. So our team has done some bit of industry interaction. There's a market study done on which area, which field our charter holders work beyond the traditional portfolio or wealth management space. And we've narrowed down a couple of areas in which we wanted to focus our curriculum as well on. So beyond the traditional portfolio management track, there'll be 2 more tracks introduced at level 3. One will be private market and the other is private wealth. The core of the curriculum remains same. So at least 70% of the level 3 curriculum will remain same, but there will be a specific focused curriculum for each of this path, depending on which you select. And you have to make this selection when you're registering for level 3 for 2025 exam. At the end of the day, all of you will still be identified as a CFA chart holder, will not be distinguished between which track you've taken, but there will be separate guidance provided on how do you communicate that to an employer on what is your specialization. So that's the 4th change. 5th is the introduction of an optional practice pack. Now, one of the key assets or the candidate resource that CFA Institute provides is the mock exams and the practice question as part of its as part of its registration for all candidates. And candidates really value it, right? Now, for most candidates, the existing mock exams and practice questions are sufficient, and it provides a lot of help for your exam preparation. But for anyone, for someone who feels that their preparation is still requires a little bit more practice, you can possibly go for this optional practice pack. I mean, it's as an add-on cost, it's USD 299, but what it'll offer you is another 6 additional mock exams and another 1,000 exam practical questions. Now, this mock exams and the questions as part of both these items are written by the same individuals who write our exam questions as well. So for them, they will not know where this exam questions will go. Will it be tested in the actual CFA exam or it will go into a mock exams? But we use the same set of rigor which we are using to build the mock exams and the practice question that we are providing you. Again, just trying to reinforce, it's all optional, this one. If you are interested, you can go for that. And this can be purchased at any point of time during your learning preparation. That's the 5th change. And quickly on the last change, I'm just conscious of time, quickly on the last change. While we recognize the value of the charter, as I mentioned right at the start, what the value of the charter brings in, we also understand that it's not an all or nothing journey. While you're completing each level, if you're a level 1 pass candidate, you're bringing a lot of knowledge value that an employer will appreciate and find it beneficial. Likewise, at level 2, for all level 2 pass candidates, you're bringing in a value add to your employer. In order to ensure that this is understood well within the industry as well, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be doing some marketing outreach. We're going to be doing a focused outreach to the market, to the employers, to highlight the value a CFA candidate brings, what a L1 candidate, L1 pass candidate means, what an L2 pass candidate means. Likewise, what a charter holder brings value to the table. There will be digital batch, which is already available. We'll be enhancing the presence of digital batch. So you will get to see that as well. So we will provide you that opportunity to get recognized at each stage of your candidate journey. That's the sixth change that we are introducing. Some of the, and this is right away, like some of these changes for the February 24 exam, you will have the early eligibility, which I talked about, the introduction of focused curriculum of 300 hours of curriculum and some materials going to pre-read. There will be recognition to your achievements at each level of your journey, the introduction of practical skill modules, as well as the optional practice pack. And likewise, we are phasing this introduction across over the next 2 years across each of the 3 levels, right? So we'll share the slides with you for your understanding benefit on when to expect what changes as well. Well, that was a quick overview from me on the 6 changes that I talked about. And as you can see on the screen, I'll encourage that you spend some time on the website. If you're already in as a candidate, if you're already registered, try to understand how this change impact you. For those who are exploring, please do spend some time on our website, understanding what changes we are bringing into the program and why, and see how it's relevant to you as a professional, current professional or a future professional in your journey. That's it from my end. I'll pass it back to Travis, and I'm happy to take questions later on as well. Thanks, Travis.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sachin, for taking us through that. And yeah, just commenting on it, I feel like overall, I think the changes that have been done are really timely, and I think really what the market is also looking for. And I think looking at even from the candidates in terms of their responses as to why they are considering pursuing the CFA program. I think many had said that they want to like enhance their knowledge or to advance their career, and I think that the CFA program and these changes that have been done, I think really complements and enhances that. So yeah, thanks so much for that.
Thanks,
yeah, and yeah, as I mentioned, everyone, please do send in your questions. Anything to clarify on that, please do send it in via the chat, or feel free to unmute and like ask any questions. So yeah, so if there is no immediate questions, I think maybe we can move to the next section, and I'll Sachin, please stay around. We'll get you back at the end when we have the Q&A if there's any questions.
Sure, Travis.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I now would like to move to the next part of our program, which is to introduce Rajiv Disanayaka, CFA. So thanks so much, Rajiv, for joining us today. So Rajiv is the Chief Financial Officer of HNB, and he has over 2 decades experience in the banking sector and capital markets. And I'm sure that is something you really want to hear from him. I think from the question we had posed to the participants as well, I think many said that you are hoping to currently working in or hoping to pursue a career in banking or financial services. So I'm sure what he has to say would be really worthwhile. And he currently, he's also a non-executive director of Lanka Ventures, Lanka Energy Fund, HNB Finance, and Equity Partners. Yeah, so thanks so much, Rajiv, for being with us here today. So maybe to kick things off, maybe could you like give us like a brief outline of what your career journey has been like?
Thanks, Travis, and thanks CFA Society for having me here today. Yes, so let me start with as soon as I finished my A-levels, I was looking at what area to pursue, and I kind of wanted to go into more finance. So there were a couple of options. At that time, probably CFA was not too popular in Sri Lanka. And anyway, when you're soon after A-levels, at that time, you were unable to really start a program like CFA because you had to be a graduate or you had to have a professional qualification. I was happy to hear from Sachin that has changed a bit now. You can actually start your level 1 without being a professionally qualified or having a degree. So that's good. But during the time I was starting my career, that option was not available. So it was probably between ACCA, CIMA, and Chartered. So CIMA was the more popular qualification at that time, and Chartered, the issue was that you had to sign your articles and you had to go through audit firm, which I was not too interested at the time. So I actually went and started CIMA. So by the time I was actually called to the university, because at that time there was also a backlog to take people into the university, I had almost completed my CIMA. So within the first year of the university, I actually passed out and completed CIMA, and then I didn't want to continue to be a full-time student in the university. So after I finished my first year, I thought that I should start working and get some practical experience. I didn't actually have a particular thing to say that I wanted to work in a bank, though my father was a banker and my brother was also working in a bank. But then I applied for a few places. I wasn't really at that point very sure which career that I really wanted to pursue. And I got selected to NDB. At that time, it was National Development Bank. This was before it merged with ABN AMRO. And I was lucky to get in as a management trainee there, and also lucky to actually get into project finance. And that gave me a fairly good knowledge on handling credit, evaluating new projects. So within 3 years, I completed my degree. I had CIMA under my belt, and I had 3 years of work experience. And then I was looking at what next. What should I do now? So doing an MBA was an option. Maybe taking some of the exemptions from CIMA, doing something like ACCA was an option. But then there was this qualification that was getting popular at the time, which was CFA. I think a lot of people were saying that the qualification was tough, and we probably had less than 50 CFA charter holders at the time. But I knew I had a fairly good knack in terms of numbers, and I liked financial management, finance, investment. So I thought I'll give it a shot. So that's how I actually started CFA. So when I started doing CFA, I kind of liked investments, portfolio management, equity. So then I thought, now I had a fairly good knowledge on debt, in investing in projects, that I actually wanted to move into capital markets and be involved in equity investments. So that's when I actually left NDB and joined as head of research into HNB stockbroker. So that's the first time I actually got into equity markets, and that too gave me a fairly good understanding. It helped me work on forecasting economic variables, looking at how those economic variables are impacting valuations. So that was again a fairly good, different exposure. But the problem with the Sri Lankan equity markets is that you have a handful of stocks that you could do research and do trading. So after maybe few earning cycles, you tend to get bored because you're looking at the same companies and doing the same thing over and over again. So then I started looking out, and that's when I got this opportunity to move from HMB Stockbrokers, which was a subsidiary, into the bank itself as manager strategic planning. It was kind of a new role that was getting created, and I was interested in taking up that challenge. So in 2008, I joined HNB as manager research, and within 8 years, I was able to move as the chief strategy officer of the bank, or take over as the chief strategy officer of HNB. The role I continued until 2021, before I actually took over as the chief financial officer. So I've been with HNB for the last 15 years. So in a nutshell, that's my career, and that's how it has progressed, Travis.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Rajiv. And I think just picking up on what you said, so you pursued, so you started on the CFA program, like working. So to what extent did you feel that what you were learning in the CFA program really complemented what you were doing at work or helped with your progression? I think that's the first one. I think the second one, I think everyone has, the burning issue is that how to balance work and studies. And I'm glad to hear that what Sachin said with the new program enhancements, that potentially, the time you're spending on the material might be less, but I think a lot of our candidates face that situation where they're working full time and how to balance this. So any advice you can give on that? How did you do it?
So to talk about the first question, I think CFA program probably is, I would say, slightly narrow, but goes very deep into areas that it covers. Let's take economics. Well, I've done economics for my A levels. I've done economics for my degree. I've done economics in CIMA, but economics in CFA actually gives so much more understanding on how each variable, especially macroeconomics in terms of monetary and all that, works together, and how all that impacts different organizations and valuations. So I guess it really goes deep. Same with derivatives, same with valuation, same with portfolio management. So you actually go to the fundamentals of things, and and that knowledge that you gain from doing a CFA program is not shallow, it's very deep. And therefore, in anything, that you have deep-rooted understanding of what you're talking about. And I think that has helped a lot in terms of being the chief strategy officer of the bank, in terms of devising new strategies, the thinking, its implications on the bank's earnings, in terms of what happens in the economy, the implications that has on the bank, and what changes you need to do in terms of strategy in order to navigate the bank through the volatile economic conditions. And also I was heading investor relations. When you talk to different investors, be it maybe DFIs who fund the bank or equity investors, you know what they are looking at. If you look at a potential investor who wants to invest in HND, you know the valuations that they are looking at. You know what are the factors within the bank that you look at. So it's been that much more easy to communicate with different stakeholders because you understand what they are thinking. So I think CFA gives you that a very good bedrock, very good foundation for you to actually build and work on. So that's on the qualification. In terms of balancing, I know it's not that easy. Luckily, I completed almost all my studies before I got married and having kids, so it was that much easier. So I had a bit more time up my sleeve. But yeah, I guess anything that you do, you need to have a passion, and you need to like doing it. So even if you're doing CFA, I think you need to do it for the knowledge that you're going to get out of it, rather than just trying to see whether you're accumulating another qualification. That's very important. So when I did CFA, when I went through some of the texts, it was for the knowledge that you actually do it. So then you're so much driven to actually do it rather than you're being forced to do it. So that's how I would see it, and that's the best way where you can balance it and be interested in doing your studies rather than looking at it as a burden, which you have to do. I guess then you will find enough time to do your studies even while working.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that, Rajiv. Sachin, do you want to say anything on that, with regard to that?
I was just listening to Rajiv, and some of the stories we hear from members and candidates, I think it echoes really. The one thing to add to what Rajiv said, the one thing the program also builds in beyond the knowledge on is the discipline. I mean, it's not easy to spend 300 hours or long term. You have to sacrifice your family outing, your friends gathering, or some movies here and there. But the discipline in which you structure your learning over 6 months, 9 months really goes beyond just the program. It helps you in your professional space as well on how you go about. And that's a recognition a lot of employers do understand. If you've gone through the rigor of passing through the exam, it's not an overnight learning something you bring. You've figured out what's the best way to go about this. You've created a chart for you how you're going to learn, and that's how you're gone about. And for those who are on the job or you're married, I mean, don't step back. Raju probably did it before he had kid, but we have some amazing examples around the world of candidates. I know some female candidates who have pursued the program while they were expecting as well. So they've gone through that journey. We know of young fathers and mothers who have gone through that journey as well. So it depends on your individual stage of your journey. It will require some bit of sacrifice, but I think in the long term, if you look back at it, it will all be very helpful. It will all add up to what you might have given up those few months of other personal time, I would say. Travis?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sachin, for that encouragement. And yeah, I think that gives hope for like everyone. And I think that's always like a question, like, so as you said, if you have the passion for it and if you have like a clear plan, I think that's what's important. And I think now with the enhanced CFA program as well, I think a lot of resources are being provided on that front as well, you know, the study planner and all these resources. So yeah, so would encourage everyone to pursue. Rajiv, also in terms of the sort of like, apart from like the knowledge enhancement you get from the CFA program, in terms of like the recognition. So I think you said that, you know, at the start, you know, CFA was not as well known here, but now, you know, does it come up more often when it comes to your interactions with like investors and things like that? To what extent does that brand recognition of CFA help you with the career journey?
Travis, I think it helps a lot. I think there are three things that I want to talk about in terms of the value addition. First one, I've already spoken about the deep knowledge and the foundation that it provides. The second you mentioned, it's the three letters that you have, which gets recognized not only in Sri Lanka, but wherever you go, you give your card and you have these three letters. And that recognition is there, and people know that that you command certain level of knowledge even before they start talking to you. So yes, the brand CFA, not only locally but even overseas, when we meet a lot of foreign investors, again as head of investor relations, when we travel overseas into different investor forums, I think that recognition is there, and most of the investors themselves are CFA charter holders, so they and it's very easy to maybe you talk at the same wavelength, and it's very easy to communicate, and there's a lot of credibility and a lot of recognition. The third point actually is your ability to then start networking with the best brains in the financial industry, because as a CFA society member, you have the opportunity to network and associate with people who are, I would consider to be the best in the finance industry. So that really helps to exchange ideas, to get feedback, to tap into their knowledge, their understanding, their opinion, would really help in your job in terms of, and probably maybe discuss different plans, discuss different ideas. It really helps. So those are three main areas that I would like to point out in terms of the value that being a CFA charter holder has created.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Rajiv. And yeah, I would also echo with regard to the networking.
I think you're on mute, Travis.
Oh, sorry about that. Thanks, Rajiv, for that. And yeah, just echoing what you said, I think on the networking aspect, because yeah, I think apart from like the knowledge gain and everything, I think that networking is also like a fundamental part of what we do in the financial services. And, through the activities like this of the CFA Society, Sri Lanka, we are also creating more opportunities for candidates to giving that opportunity to network. So with the CFA Society Sri Lanka, we have the candidate outreach initiative and the candidate council, where we do have these various activities, which giving you some opportunity to like network. So yeah, I think that's the other big benefit that the program is providing. Sachin, anything you want to add on that aspect, on the networking aspect?
On the career aspect, I think Raju has covered very well in his 3 points on what anyone should be looking out if they are pursuing the CFA program, right? On the networking, yes, just to enhance that point, I mean, it's a community of 190,000 members. That's how you should be looking at it, not how many are there in a particular country, right? So be it if you're mobile, if you're moving around with work, meeting investors, there is a very good chance that you'll bump into somebody who is a chart holder. Or for that matter, if you're based in Sri Lanka, you're working for a global account, just the mere fact that you have that designation against your name, the 3 letters against your name, makes the conversation much more easier if you're engaging with somebody, say, sitting in Australia or Japan or Americas, right? So that's the hidden benefit that brings in, apart from just putting the letter against your name. So the networking is benefit. Travis, we will also know as a volunteer yourself, you've traveled around, you've been part of some of the society events, not just in Sri Lanka, had an opportunity to be present at the regional level as well. So it's an opportunity to meet fellow charter holders in other markets as well. That's what the community brings in. That's what the society brings in. Yeah. So of course, right now as a candidate, you look at as from the program, from the learning perspective, but your journey doesn't end once you complete the 3 levels. There's lots more that the CFA Institute and society has to offer.
Yeah, thanks, Sachin, for that. One more question from me to Rajiv. So I think some of the questions we got from the participants or something they said was that they want to use the CFA program to like shift their career to like financial services. And I think many also said they are interested in the banking sector. So any like particular advice you would give for someone who is looking to pursue a career in banking or like financial services in general?
So yeah, in terms of let's say banking, I see 2 areas. One is you get general banking, which is branch banking. Then also I would say maybe a corporate banking, which I would say the core banking area. And then you will have specialized areas like maybe strategy, finance, treasury, investments, and so on. What I've seen is that you get more CFA charter holders in these specialized areas like treasury, investments, and so on, rather than in the core banking area. Not to say that CFA is not relevant for core banking. Of course, if you're in, let's say, in corporate banking, in terms of evaluating projects, evaluating lending, all that will, of course, help you a lot if you're a charter holder and you have gone through that training. But for some reason, I've seen more people in the treasury investment areas, in investment banking, than in doing core banking. Probably one reason could be when you're in core banking, and especially in a large organization, the structures are a bit more bureaucratic than you would find in maybe an investment banking. So the opportunities for progress probably it goes through a process, unlike maybe in a specialized area or in an investment bank where you probably find more opportunities for career progression. So that could be one reason where we probably see, because if you have a CFA charter holder, your aspirations will be that much more, and you'll probably want to enhance your career, and probably you find more opportunities elsewhere. So that's probably one reason we may not have too many charter holders in core banking, but that's something that definitely I think even the banks need to look at, how they can actually attract good talent into even the core banking functions, and and how you could create maybe different and more accelerated career paths for people who have better qualifications. But as of today, probably I see more charter holders in the space of investment banking, treasury, and investment areas rather than in core banking. But I think that might change over the years.
Okay, thanks a lot for those insights, Rajiv. So yeah, I think we have just over like 10 minutes left. So I just want to pause here and just check, does anyone have any specific questions for Rajiv or Sachin? If you prefer, you can send it in via the chat. If not, please feel free. I'm not sure if, I think we can unmute you as well. If you want to raise your hand and like ask a question directly, please feel free to do that as well. Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone has any questions at the moment, but please, yeah, if you do have any questions, please do send it in. This is the opportunity to like clarify anything from Sachin or to get more advice from Rajiv. So Sachin, maybe until we get that, maybe, I mean, another common question that we get from a lot of candidates is, when we surveyed the candidates, I mean, a key challenge they are facing right now is in terms of the financial challenge of like doing the CFA program. I think many really want to pursue it. But that, so maybe could you like highlight like some of the like on scholarships opportunities and some of the other sort of like the programs that the CFA has to support candidates?
Absolutely. And thanks for bringing that up, Travis. So yeah, apart from the resources that CFA Institute continues to build for its candidates, we do offer financial support. The scholarship program is there for anyone who wishes to apply. And there are different types of scholarship based on where you're placed. The most common one is called as access scholarship, right? So access scholarship is for those candidates who have a financial need, a real financial need to pursue the program. There is interest, there is motivation to build a career in this space, but finance is a big constraint for you right now. So you can apply for an access scholarship. There are a couple of windows in the year when the application window opens up. The one early in the year is just closed for access scholarship. We declared results on March for that one. The next one expected to open up somewhere around September. So do check on the website from time to time on access scholarship. There is a limited number of scholarship that we offer globally, and we do offer it to all markets. So Sri Lanka also gets the benefit of that. And I think as Candidate Council has done previously and currently also doing, they do engage and guide you on how to go about for the scholarship piece. The other scholarship is women's scholarship that we offer. So any female candidates who are interested to pursue the program, that's the support we bring in from our end as well. There is a separate women's scholarship. Beyond this too, there are a few more, like there's a student scholarship, but that's more relevant for students pursuing a program in an affiliated university of any university who's tied up with CFA Institute. There are professor scholarship and regulator scholarship, but from a candidate perspective, it's this two scholarship that are more relevant. Of course, the society itself is supporting with this offer with tie-up with HNB Bank and bringing the EMI initiative that goes over and above what CFA Institute is providing you as well. Travis?
Yeah, thanks for highlighting those, Sachin. So
sorry,
yeah,
just one point. I just want to sum it up. How does this scholarship really help you in terms of pricing, right? The program pricing is not anyway less expensive. In terms of dollar value, it's as close as 1200, 1250 for a new first-time candidate. And you just convert into current conversion for Sri Lanka market, that is quite a steep price. What the scholarship brings down is a total cost to register for the program. If it's an access scholarship, it's $250. If it's a women's scholarship, it's $350 that you have to pay. So that's the add-on benefit that we bring in for those who really are motivated and looking for the program. Travis, sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, thanks for highlighting that, Sachin. And yeah, So I think apart from that, also the CFA Society Sri Lanka has different initiatives to try to support candidates through the candidate outreach. And one is in terms of providing these discounts from like prep providers and having these free access to like master classes and discounted mock exams, as well as I think another very useful benefit has been with the society's tie up with HNB and the HNB credit card, where you can get a 0% on a 0% installment plan when it comes to paying the CFA exam fee. So I think that has been like very helpful for a lot of candidates. So please do make use of whatever those opportunities we're providing. Yeah, I think we've also got two questions. I think the first one, I think, would be to Sachin. It's about will the practical modules be available for someone hoping to sit for the level 2 exam? This would be in May 2024.
Yes, the answer is yes. For level 2, we are adding the practical skills module from May 2024 exam. So that will be made available. So when registration open up for the May exam, you will see that practical skills module is already there for level 2 candidates.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. So a follow-up question I have is with regard to the optional practice pack. I want to ask in terms of what is like the validity period for the practice pack?
The validity is as long as you're an active candidate, that
Okay.
access is available for you, right? Just like your access to your curriculum, it's the same for the additional practice pack.
Okay, right. Understood. I think the other question we have got is, okay, it's one big issue I face when studying is with regard to doing questions. They're saying, are the questions and the mocks on the learning ecosystem enough preparation and of comparable standard with the actual exam? Are there any other practice questions I can access? So I think one answer would be the optional practice pack. And also from the addition, so through the CFA, the Candidate Council, the other mock exams that are provided by the prep providers that we have partnered with. I think that's another, would be another source. Apart from that, like Rajiv, when you were like preparing, what was like any like other sources that you were using for like exam prep?
It was some time back, so I don't know how relevant it would be. I think almost 15 years since I completed. Well, I think I guess sometimes the recommended study pack seems to be very intimidating when you look at the amount of pages that you need to go through. So at that time, there were certain subjects that I actually read cover to cover on the recommended study packs. One is because I was interested in actually gaining the knowledge on there rather than actually studying. So it was actually did it with a lot of interest. There are certain subjects that probably I resorted to going through. I believe it was the Swesher, right? Swesher does a summary version of the overall study pack, and probably I don't know whether they still do it, but I guess those days they had it. So for certain subjects I did that, but for the others I actually went through the recommended reading. But what is most important, I believe, is to do questions, and not only just doing questions. It's about actually doing a paper seated for 3 years, time it under exam conditions, close the door, get into your room and do, because that's very important. Because if you don't practice that, when you go to the exam, you will find that the time is not adequate. So I think that's something that all candidates need to do, at least maybe do 5 to 10 question papers before you actually go for the actual exam. Time it and ensure that you are able to do it in the allotted 3 hours or whatever the time that is now the duration of the exam. So that's very important, right?
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv. And yeah, fully agree with that. I think like one challenge is like mastering the content, but equally important is also getting familiar with that question format and getting used to getting into that mentality
And even
of, the type of,
getting used to the calculator and how
yes.
you use it. And I think that's also very important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so I think the answer for that is do as many questions as possible. And I think in general, the recommendation is, wherever possible to use like the official sources. I think even with the CFA curriculum, I think there's a lot of really good questions end of chapter, which are like reflective of the kind of questions that you would get at the exam, and also anything else like the optional practice pack or any of the sample mock exams that the institute provides. Just make the maximum use of that. So yeah, I think we just have 2 minutes more to go. I haven't got any more questions. So Sachin, Rajiv, any final closing thoughts from you two?
Sachin, you want to go first?
I'll let Raju go ahead first.
Right. Thanks, Sachin. So I guess my parting comments and advice would be, well, when you're a CFA charter holder, I think to be a CFA charter holder, your IQ levels should be above average, and I think that's something you would associate with most of the CFA charter holders that you associate. But with that knowledge, with the qualification, all that, it's very easy for you to get into something like a superiority complex, or to think that you're superior and maybe look down on some of the others. But if you really, especially in a large organization, if you really want to be a great leader, I think the IQ you anyway would have if you're a chart holder, but something that will differentiate you from a good leader to become a great leader is actually work on your EQ, the emotional intelligence, because all what you learn, your IQ, all that will take you to a certain level. But if you really want to differentiate yourself and be a great leader, I think you need to have a good level of emotional intelligence also. So I think that's something that you really need to work on if you really want to be a true great leader in a large organization. That's my parting thoughts.
Great. Thanks, Raju, for bringing that up. I think I'll just pick up on that point itself and give my parting thought as well. You rightly pointed, IQ is something you can pick up, you can spend effort and do. Creating of that EQ piece is very important. When CFA Institute has done a lot of study, there are thought leadership research articles that we have worked on. I mean, a couple of them I can point out as our latest pieces. One is called Future of Investment Profession, and the other is Investment Professional of the Future. What this research essentially identifies and shares what employers are looking for in a candidate. They look for something called as a T-shaped skills. T-shaped skill is knowing in depth a particular sector, particular field very well, but also having a broader understanding of the space which you're working on and how the two connects, right? Your knowledge of technical area is good, but how do you bring in business skills, soft skill, leadership skills? It becomes equally more important as you move up your career ladder. So never ignore that. If you're ignoring, I mean, that's where you get into say a mid-career rut and all that. So work on that front equally consciously, and I'm sure in the long run the two will marry, and you will have a good career. It's like we have Raju here sharing his journey. We might have some of you coming back to us and sharing your journey as well, and how that has helped in your long run. Thanks, Travis. Thanks for having us over today for this discussion.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sachin, and thanks so much, Rajiv, for spending this time with us. And yeah, I think that was a really great place to like end this as well. So yeah, so thanks so much for everything you shared with us today. So we'll also be the recording will be made available on the CFA Society's YouTube page. So for any candidates who are not able to join, it'll be available there. And we'll also be sharing the material, I think that Sachin shared on our social media channels and the candidate WhatsApp channels. So yeah, please watch out for those, and please be a part of any of our upcoming events that we have. And do give us your feedback on how useful you find these programs, and any other way we can like support you on this. So yeah, so with that, I think we can bring today's event to a close then. Yeah, once again, thanks so much, Sachin and Rajiv, for spending this time with us.
Thanks, Travis.
Travis.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.